Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is a post-match review. Manchester United beating Sheriff 2-0, and we've got Stephen Howson with us. Steve, they don't get much bigger in Europe than this one, do they?
I mean, obviously, Sheriff last season beat Real Madrid, who went on to win it. Therefore, I think by that, this is the second biggest in Europe.
Yeah, that's a logic that makes sense to me. You can't argue with that. If you look at the linear structure of it, yeah, we are basically the best team in Europe.
I mean, we now have like 3 of Real Madrid's like Champions League winners, not all from last season, obviously, but we've got one of them. So, yeah, in terms of like the handover of power,
I think we've got the most important one as well. Casemiro made that team too. Without him, they would have won nothing. So, yeah, it makes sense. There was a few sort of things going into this game that people were looking at. One of which was Cristiano Ronaldo's not scored yet. You've done a few videos on your own channel and on our channel about it, how the press are just gunning for United this season in more ways than one. And this has become a little bit of a thing of like, oh, Ronnie, is he settled? All this sort of stuff. Does he need a goal? I know it was a penalty, but he got his goal. I mean, it's just one thing that's out of the way, innit, really?
He still looks disjointed, I think, in this team.
Yeah.
I titled my review on my channel, he's got more questions still to answer. I think he's got a massive question mark to answer in midfield. I thought Casemiro looked decent, but still unfit. So, like, what do you do going into City? Like, it's Casemiro. Like, if you want to play defensive football with your midfield, probably want to play Casemiro. But you probably don't want to drop McTominay as well. So that's a huge question mark. Anthony, I thought, looked anonymous tonight, as did Ronaldo. Some of that, not all of that, but some of that is down to how rigid and how compact Sheriff were. They were very difficult to break down, and none of our forward line looked great because I thought the best player on the pitch, again, and I can't believe this must be near of every single week I've said this, is Christian Eriksen.
Can't
He just looks outrageous. He's so cool, so calm, so composed. I had my doubts about us signing him, mainly because of the pacemaker. Like, when you know what goes into the pacemaker and all the rest of that, obviously I'm not a doctor, and obviously doctors will have cleared him for that. But still, people with pacemakers still have issues. But he's been flawless. He's been absolutely flawless. So,
me and Andy Tate was talking on the watch along. He said, "Oh, we should have got him years ago." And all this. Do you think Eriksen's always been like this, or do you think we are seeing another side to him, like he's gotten better as he gets older and he gets more experience and he has to sort of adjust his game a little bit? Because I remember seeing Christian Eriksen at Spurs and thinking he was a great player, or was a good player, I should say. But at United, I've been surprised at just how good he is.
He was excellent at Spurs.
Yeah.
Excellent at Spurs. But I always thought he was a lot more playing in the sort of area Bruno played in. What I'm seeing out of him now is him. He plays like a 6 at times. He's playing as an 8. He's going everywhere in midfield to get on the ball and to do a job. But I don't believe he was signed to play this many games. I can't believe he was signed to play this many games. I think we definitely thought we were going to be bringing in a Frankie de Jong sort of character, and I'm pretty sure he was there to give him a night off sometimes, give Bruno a night off sometimes. And then they've played him and gone, fucking hell, wouldn't it? Kept playing him. So I think he's just played himself into form, into unstoppable form.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Like, even going back to the Atletico game, I think in Oslo, when you're just watching him, some of the passes that he plays and the way he just fades in the ball and that, you're like, this guy's just different class. And yeah, he's just been a pleasant surprise, and long may it continue. Hopefully, long may it continue. Jadon Sancho got on the score sheet. He's having a decent start to the season, isn't he? What have you made of his start so far? Because he was someone that I'm pretty sure you mentioned this, that people were critical of Marcus last season, and I understand why. And then Sancho almost went under the radar a little bit, and the fact that he didn't really have a good enough season. This season, he certainly got amongst the goals early doors.
He started slow, but I think he grew into it. I think he looked unfit at the start of the season last year, but he did grow into it. And I thought he finished relatively strongly. No one finished strong, let's be real. But I thought of the finishers, he was one of the stronger finishers with some decent performances towards the back end of the season. I think he's looked bright this year. I don't think he's quite at full tilt yet, 100 mile an hour Jason Sanchez. But I think he's looking bright. I And I think he's had a good start, a solid good start to the season. Plenty good enough start to the season to be selected on Southgate's England team. But for whatever reason, form, all that sort of stuff doesn't go into it.
No, it's weird. I don't really know what goes into it at times with Gareth Southgate. It's like he said he was going to pick players on form, or if you're playing well for your club, you get in, and then you see people.
You can never say that again.
Yeah, because Luke Shaw's literally not getting in the United team, but he's getting in the England squad. Harry Maguire the same. I understand why, someone like Maguire has been a mainstay, but it doesn't make much sense when you're coming out with these statements and then you're seeing someone like Jadon Sancho, who has been in previous squads, who is playing well, and he's getting ignored, and then someone like Jack Grealish who's having a pretty underwhelming
It's
time.
the way he says it as well. Is like, Grealish and Phillips and Maguire and Shaw, they're either not playing well or not playing.
Yeah.
And but we know they'll be good players, so we'll give them a chance. Whereas Marcus is pretty much gone, you better fucking pull your socks up if you think you're getting this fucking team. And like, how's that the same fucking treatment for everybody? He's like, yeah, Marcus needs to go away, play some fucking games, and then maybe in consideration.
It's disgusting. That it really annoys me because it's like.
Meanwhile, Luke Shaw, who got ragged off at half time because he was shit, played one other game that we've lost, or Harry Maguire, who every single minute that he's played we've lost. Right? Those two are picking out which fucking seats they're having on the plane.
No, doesn't make any sense. My only sort of positive on the whole scenario is I don't really care that much. Just before I let you go. We've got this big gap now between, before the derby, the next game at Derby.
16 days, Jay.
16 days. What's going to go down there, Steve? Do you reckon it's be behind closed door games? I know we've got the internationals, so that some players will get match practice with that. Sort of what?
Not loads though.
Yeah. How do you think Ten Hag's going to manage this?
There's got to be behind closed doors games. There just has to be. It's a slightly elongated international break because obviously we've not got a game on Sunday. Otherwise, we'd have had that extra handful of days with the players with another match. I wouldn't be surprised if he was like Monday, who've we got left? Like, what players haven't got on international duty? Have I got 18 there? And if he's not got 18, he's got 18 on it. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Phil Jones is still technically turning up for work, I believe. He's got 18 somewhere, I would imagine. Even if that means Charlie Savage is 6 or whatever. You've got Sancho and Rashford that you can fucking start for starters. Wan-Bissaka's not gone anywhere. You've got I'm sure he's got 18. Just bring a championship team in if they've not got a fixture. Bring in, I spoke to some players about how often does this actually happen where they bring teams in, and they said in season it happens, but it's rare. Like it doesn't happen every week. Put it that way. It goes in pre-season. That's when you see a lot of teams come through to play you, and that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
But I like the midweek game anyway. I mean, I do it with my lads. I try and play Ramsbottom. We played Macclesfield in one last season. Twatted. Like I try and play some high-level opposition just so we can test ourselves. I don't want the lads getting complacent. I think Ten Hag will want to do it for a completely different reason. I think he's still trying to embed his style of play and his system into people. And I think doing that in 90-minute matches, I'm sure they're playing first versus 23s, two, 3 times a week. But just bringing in another team, bringing in a Huddersfield or just somebody like that that's going to test you. They're not going to turn up and wipe the floor with you. But they'll, someone that's fairly local. A League One side against a rotated United side on a Monday morning at Carrington, 10 a.m. would be enough for you to run a real training session where the tempo is going to be the correct speed. You're going to have to mind your P's and Q's because you get put in a fucking stand. You're going to have to be able to have the correct shape or you will get punished. And they're going to ask different questions of you than Manchester City would. But there's ways and means around that. Give them 13 players.
Yeah.
Say, okay, dominate possession against us now, and then we'll break out. That's what you use the training week for. You can fucking adapt the rules. You can have fucking 4 goals if you want 4 goals. Yeah. You do whatever you need to do to mimic the situations that you're trying to do. That Manchester City game, my only worry about that is with it being 16 days. If he was game. And we was playing the Thursday night before we played City. He can't think about it too early because he's got this Thursday game that he needs to box off. And then when it gets to Friday morning, I need to see the physio report. Who's injured? Who's actually fit? Okay, I've got 12 fit players. There's me 11. And it almost gets a chance to pick itself. 16 days out, how many times is he going to write an 11 out in 16 days? He's going to write fucking 95 different 11s out. He's going to overthink this, potentially overthink the fuck out of it. And that, I think, can be a problem. Just too long dwelling on one thing. It's very simple. Not easy, but simple how you beat Manchester City. You soak up the pressure. You use the pace in behind the fullbacks. That's how you beat Manchester City. That's what we've seen for the last 6 years of Pep's reign. You know how they're going to play. You know what they're vulnerable to. It doesn't change. You got to do something to do with that big freak up front, for sure, because he is a fucking threat. Make no mistake. And you hit them on the counter. You let them have the ball because they're fucking having the ball whether you want it or not. And then you try and hit them on the counter. And it's simple as that. It's very, very straightforward. But doing it, obviously, is not the most simple, straightforward thing. It's very difficult to do. Otherwise, everyone will do it.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right. It'll be interesting to see what happens there, but we've got 16 days to talk about it and think about it, and no doubt we will. Steve, thanks for chatting to us, and me and you will be back tomorrow with the brew.
Well, luckily, Jay, 1991 don't change. We'll be there talking about that.
The most important achievement ever.
Next weekend, let's do the fucking watch along for 91.
Oh, mate, now you're talking my language. Yeah, 100%. We're going to do watch along for the. What are we doing? The entire run or just the final?
I don't know if there's probably highlights available for some of the earlier rounds, but I think we'll just do the final.
Just do the final, start to finish. We need to get our mate on as well. I'll message him now. Right. Make sure you check that out. We're going to be back with the brew tomorrow. We're also going to be back sooner than you think with the 1991 Cup Winners' Cup watch along. I've been Jay. That's me, Stephen Howson. Thanks for watching.